Well, good evening, everybody. Oh, hang on. YouTube is still playing it. YouTube is behind my StreamYard. So sometimes we overlap. Let's turn that off. Let's see what do we got over here on that. We'll turn that one off. All right, folks. Well, good evening. Good evening. The news of the day, Brian Koberg accepts a plea deal. Coming to you live from the mainstream media and potentially Steve Gonzalez. There is a link at the top of this YouTube stream. The top of the YouTube stream, you should be able to see. Matter of fact, I'll post it also on Rumble. You should see a way to connect to the stream. You can actually be a live guest on the show. Remember, you're taking your ass in your own hands when you come up here, so be careful. Be careful. As far as I know, and anybody that knows more than me, you're welcome to share in the chat room or click on the link I posted, or in fact, click at the link at the top of the page that's pinned. My understanding is that this is a rumor. I don't know that there's any validity to it. And like I've always said, innocent or guilty is never really the goal of what we should be focused on. It should always be the facts that comes out of the accusatory instruments and the responses and evidence that are put in court by both of the defense and the prosecution. And at this point, is there documentation to show that there is a plea deal, that he signed a plea deal? I haven't talked to Dago. I've been busy all weekend, so I haven't talked to him in a couple of days, but I do want to let you know, from just donations in the stream, from what I was told was $293 was raised. So I went ahead and matched that $293 and got him up to almost $600. And yeah, I don't know if he's able to actually join the stream. I got StreamYard rolling. Let me go in there. See if he can. I'm not sure that he can. Maybe he can. See a Twizzle stick. I was talking to Twiz. But bear with me. I'm not looking at the comments at the moment. Now I am. Oh, he's there backstage. I don't see you there. What do you mean he's backstage? No, he's not. There's nobody backstage. Sorry, I don't see anybody backstage. Here I am. It says presenter invite, and that's it. Start cam. I don't have my cam tonight. 53 people, and I do not see you. I put a link in Discord. I'll put the link back in here. I didn't see anybody join. It's just me down here. There it is. It says your devices are not connected. There you go. Well, there, Dago, what the hell's going on?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm on a phone and I don't know how to shut. Hang on. I don't know how to shut it down in the background. Hold on, sir.
Well, his first name is Ree. His last name is Tard. And there you have it. Ree Tard is here to join us. Well, come on in, Jesse. I put the link in there. Bring it. Listen, my understanding is I haven't seen any documents. Has there been a release from the courts? Has there been an announcement to the public?
Sarge,
what?
Send me the link in Discord.
I did. So, does anybody know the official announcement from the judicial system? Anybody know if there's announcements or a document that's been posted? Has there been a press release? Yeah, so I don't, I don't know. The news tells me a lot of things. They told me I needed to get a shot 6 times. I didn't pay any attention to him then. I'm not going to pay any attention to him now. Now they won't tell you how many millions of people died around the globe as a result of that. Anyway, there will be a hearing on Wednesday, but there always was going to be a hearing on Wednesday. Listen, there was supposed to be a sealed hearing on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. So that's, God, I hate Discord, man. It just jumps all over my screen. Yeah, but I thought there was already stuff scheduled for this week. As far as hearings go, I thought there was a Wednesday. Only a letter from the state. Well, what does the letter say? Can you get a copy of the letter? I'm taking this as rumor at this point. I'm not taking this as something set in stone. Who's Willie? Who's Willie? Pam Smith? I don't know who Willie is. Yeah. Yeah, I really don't want to get into a all right. What makes it not a rumor? So why is it not a rumor? X, whatever your name is, XX up XXST, whatever the hell that name is. Why is this not a rumor?
It's all over multiple
doesn't
news
know-
sources.
Willie does not know Brian Koberger personally. So I'm replying to my chat. There you go. Yeah, I don't have any proof that Willie knew Brian personally more than maybe when he was like a little kid or something. At best, I don't think he knew him. He knew him like that, right? He knew his parents worked at the school or something. Isn't that true, Dago? Dago's gone. Yeah, this is all. This here is all about. You got to wait for the documents to come out. I mean, look at how the media. Listen, let me just give you an example. Let's just for a moment consider that this is just a rumor. And look at how all of these streamers, how all of you are out here saying what's being said. I mean, how do you know? Nobody knows that this is true. And I'm not saying it's not true. But this is the point that I try to make over and over again, folks. If you don't have documented facts, then it's not true. It isn't true. I don't give a fuck how many people are telling you he took a plea deal. I'm not saying he didn't. But I'm telling you, you can't prove to me or yourself in writing that he did. So why the fuck are all of these streamers and all these news agencies screaming plea deal? I mean, they even got people that are supposed to be pro-burgers screaming he's taking a plea deal. I don't understand. That's what I mean. And if he is taking a plea deal, like I've said for years, then he's the committer of the crime. In spite of the observations and the problems that we have.
In my boy UTTV now. In my
What's going on there?
Wow.
Boy.
Hey there.
Say hello.
Hello.
My niece just wanted to be famous for a second.
Hello.
Great to see you, Dago. I heard you run into some hard times, and certainly
Most definitely.
we all know about those. But I'm just happy to see your face and be back on a panel with you gentlemen. And Sarge, true to form, that if it isn't in the court documents, it ain't a fact.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised to hear Sarge say that.
I'm just I feel the same way. We've all been talking about it in my Discord for a while now, that because there is no document, there's no nothing. It's just
listen. At this point, Ann has been trying to get the death penalty off the table. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes.
Okay. Is it a fair assessment then to consider the district attorney is offering him a plea deal to plead guilty and get rid of the death penalty and counter to Ann's arguments to get rid of it? Does that seem like that could be possible? Okay.
Yes.
So,
and
all of these things are coming from some jerk off reporter, Brian Enton, or somebody that probably, I don't know, probably uses his pinky and thumb to jerk off. I have no idea.
And the family that has proven to be unreliable.
Yeah, the Gonzalez family. That guy, yeah, that guy was probably the one that looked at Dylan and said, "It's okay, I'm here to help." Which tells me that statement
alone is if there's a plea deal, we'll never hear what the truth is regarding Dylan and that those kids.
Lana made a good point. She said that Enton was the first person to come out with the day that Brian, when he was arrested, the whole I can't wait to be exonerated, which was never stated. So how do we know that this is true? That's a good point. Supposedly there's letters that were sent to certain broadcasting agencies and so on and so forth. But again, we've not seen a letter. We've not heard anybody talk about reading a letter. So this very well could be a ploy from the defense guys. That's what I was thinking.
Not a ploy from the defense, but from the prosecution. More likely, in my view, it's more likely that this is just another condemnation of Brian Koberger. Another argument he's guilty because he's going to admit it himself. And then when he doesn't, everybody's got this thing in their mind that he was going to take a plea deal. If this may in fact be the worst most poisonous thing being done to the jury, aside from Judge Hippler saying there's a car involved. That fucking guy should never have said that in his ruling. He should have never went public with that.
That's a good point.
Well, one thing's pretty clear. Ann Taylor is certainly losing the public relations battle. The alt perps thing, and I mean, I don't know if you guys are still in the camp where you feel like she's got something up her sleeve and she's playing 3D chess, but whatever she's doing, she's not winning the hearts and minds of the general public. I can tell you that much.
Well, that's because she's adhering to the gag order.
Yeah, right.
Right?
No, but she didn't have to come out with those alternative suspects, and you had to know that Hitler was going to hit back and deny them all. So,
but Hitler denying them all, and denying them all, though, poisoned the jury. He himself is shooting at Brian's fucking head. When he came out and said that your 4 suspects, none of them can be connected to the car. That's
I could have predicted that, Sarge. So she should have been able to predict that.
Yeah, that was a big problem.
Those alternative
no, you
suspects.
can't predict, Jesse. How are you going to predict the judges thinking the car must be part of the crime and there's no other alternative fucking way it could have been done? How do you know that he's thinking that
the way he's behaved the whole time? Yeah. The same way he said that, well, his DNA is at the scene, and even if you can prove that he wasn't there, that doesn't mean he's not part of one of several people who were involved. He said that as well, right? Which was way out of line as well.
But then he denied the alternate perpetrator situation.
Actually, that really is in line with the DNA evidence at the home. If you're going to go just on DNA. So the fact that he makes it to the exclusion of all else that car has to be part of this crime, to me, is condemning the fucking accused. Because we've not seen any evidence that makes that car his, nor that car being part of the crime that occurred in that home.
Well, when we talked about the alternative perpetrators, I did say she's got to have the nuts, because if she doesn't, there's no point in bringing alternative perpetrators because he's clearly going to deny it unless you have like smoking gun stuff, DNA matches, eyewitnesses. You got to have something. Otherwise, you're blowing, you're pissing into the wind, let's say, is the perfect expression.
And you're screaming, it's raining, it's raining.
And it turns out she was pissing into the wind, and I just don't think that makes Brian look particularly good to the general public.
Well, like we got the famous Lucy Morningstar in here. I think she was mentioned by Harsh the other day. Look at that. She's getting some damn wings. Yep. Biff can fly. Right? She could take to the sky, touch the sky. All right, what is she saying? The identified unknown male profile C on the sheath, or they located the K-bar. So what do you think there, Lucy? Did he take a plea deal, or am I correct in saying that it's just a rumor at this point, and we don't know until we actually know? Jesse loves his food, and he's polite enough to chew with his mouth closed. That's nice. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. So, Dago, how do we go with our goal? Did any more come in over about the 600 you got? I think Dago's fucking helmet straps are a little tight.
I apologize for chewing on stream, but I was in the middle of making my breakfast when I saw you go live, Sarge. So I couldn't abandon my lovely breakfast of bagels with poached eggs and ham and some sliced cheese on top of that.
Nice. I mean, you're living the life, bro. Like a couple of friends of mine saying, I'm living my best life. I can't really argue against that. Dago, what's this?
Oh, now we got two Dagos.
We got two Dagos in here. Good God.
But I guess if you look at it like this, if the mainstream media on every channel right now, there's tons of huge channels live streaming this. And if it turns out that he never actually accepted a plea deal, now we have serious issues for Ann Taylor to work with as far as delays and potential mistrials.
Someone's making the argument that the parents got the letter, but the parents have to be notified if the prosecution chooses to offer a deal. Let's be clear. If they're even going to consider offering a deal, the families of the victims need to be notified. It's not only notification because the guy accepted a deal. They would be advised prior to the DA even offering a deal. More often than not, that's the way it would be done. And so at this point, I'm going to stand firm and say until there's documentation that shows Brian Kober accepted a plea deal, scheduling of hearings around the plea deal, or sentencing scheduling or something of that nature. I think they just had a hearing today about witnesses from Pennsylvania. I mean, why are they going to go through with that? What do you need to talk to a witness in Pennsylvania for? They said they weren't notified and are pissed. Well, I would notify them people of what time it was. If it was, I don't know. Again, I'm not saying that it did not happen, but like I pointed out time and time again, until you know it happened, the word if is the biggest 2-letter word that causes the most fucking people to get lost down the bullshit chutes of rabbit holes than any other.
Well, what I saw on their Facebook page was, yes, it's true, and we are pissed off about it, basically. But they were saying that they were confirming that it's true, and I guess they weren't providing sources. So
someone go get Miss Potts. What's her name? Just gave a fucking link.
Miss Potts was posting sexy pictures on YouTube earlier today. I saw. Oh yeah,
of herself.
I think she might change her channel to a modeling channel. She's way better looking than I thought. I mean, good looking. Sorry, I shouldn't hesitate to say yes to that. But yeah, listening to her voice, I sort of thought she was like a bigger woman or something. She's petite actually and attractive.
Oh, I didn't know that. She does got that AI voice, and I call her AI. I go in her stream and I'm like, just keep reading AI. Yeah. People are referring to documents. Biff just sent me a document, and it's not really a document saying that they weren't notified about a deal. When was this written? The messages and 911 calls released in Coburger Pace. The Lord. Yeah, I don't know. They're convoluting different stuff, but again, they do this all the time. I don't know why they all said that. They all must have interacted with it. It's being offered, but he has not signed. Well, we haven't, again, yeah, I just don't buy into the fact that they even offered the guy a plea deal. To be very honest with you folks, I don't see any value in the state offering the guy a plea deal. At this point, the only thing that could go wrong for them is the fucking electricity goes out, or we get hit by fucking nuclear weapons out of the blue, or a fucking satellite crashes into the courthouse.
Well, there's nothing on the website showing even for the hearing for Wednesday, supposedly. So what? We've been looking at the documents since this dropped. There's nothing.
No, I think people are suggesting they offered it, but they wouldn't even need. Of course, they may offer a plea deal and counter to them trying to get the death penalty off the list.
Of course, yeah.
There may be some valid argument that the kid. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that it happened so fast either. Okay, there's the other problem.
We don't support Pavarotti and these other fucking channels that run around solving the crime.
It ain't confirmed until the hearing or until it's signed. Remember that.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Oh,
hold on 1 second there. I muted Dago, but Donald, hang on. We don't check out Pavarotti's and the Tommy fucking Judes and these people that got 88 other fucking people that are criminally involved and that are killers. I don't go to streamers like that. I don't listen to streamers like that. Don't want to know streamers like that. So please don't even mention them in this channel. We're only about the facts and the documentation of that which can be proved or disproved. And that's what we try to focus on here. What did you say now, Donald Denison? I cut you off. I stomped on you. I kicked you. I apologize. The floor is yours.
I was just saying, it ain't official until it's signed, until he says it in court or signs it.
Right. We have to assume that there's been several offers levied towards Ann Taylor throughout this process.
Do you guys think they found the murder weapon?
No. Not even close.
Weapons. I'm going to say weapons. Murder weapons.
Yeah, there's more than one.
Yeah, and I agree with nothing. Look, if he accepted a plea deal, that's one thing. If being offered a plea deal, that's not the same thing as accepting a plea deal. And
And you got to make sure.
Often,
And what key thing people mostly forget is that you got to make sure it's with parole, with possibility of parole. If it is no parole, that's badder. That's not as good.
They're not going to offer that.
No, it's going to be without parole. It's going to be 4 life sentences without parole. Consecutive, probably.
I think you got a delay, Don.
So, Dago, what are you're streaming on a cell phone?
Yeah, Sarge. This is a
look
joke.
all beat up.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not been a fun 5 days. I promise you that much.
Have you been able to raise any more?
Yeah, a little bit more. I don't know. I'm working on possibly doing this tomorrow, and if I can, I'll be back tomorrow. I hope.
Doing what tomorrow?
Doing my live streams again tomorrow.
Oh. Yeah, he does. But doesn't he biff? He looks like he got biffed. Biff.
It's not.
Oh, there he is. He's moving now.
Oh, you guys thought I was a Snapchat?
Bathroom? You can get Dago streaming from the shitter. Dago sitting on the shitter streaming.
I'm standing up. There's the shower curtain, guys. See the shower curtain? Tell Jeff to go fuck himself. He's got
Brian Koberger's shower curtain. He's streaming from the shitter. Oh my
I'm walking around. I'm standing up. I'm walking around trying to find lights so that you can see me.
He's doing number 1 then. Number 2 later.
No. See the mirror?
Oh, the mirror. Yeah. The mirror. Definitely not.
Yeah, I got a big mirror like in my bathroom like that. Probably like 3 times.
This place is dark. I'm trying to find some light where you can see me.
What is an Alfred plea? Explain to the group what an Alfred plea is. Well, you should get up on a live stream and talk. God damn Biff.
No, she promised somebody else first.
We don't even. Another thing, I haven't seen any documents say there's going to be a hearing on Wednesday at all on.
That's what I said.
Either.
I thought there was a hearing this week anyway. Wasn't there 1 or 2 hearings this week?
There was something yesterday.
Pennsylvania. There was Pennsylvania for the. There was a hearing today in Pennsylvania for those 3.
Pennsylvania. Yeah, it was in PA.
I think the witnesses are trying to do a Zoom testimony rather than have to stop their life and go out to Idaho. I don't blame them.
No, one said he didn't want to do it because it could wreck his life. It could wreck that he's the only one that has the income.
Let me see if I can get this light.
Need to be aware that they're in the stage of, if he's found guilty, they're working through the process of trying to get rid of the death penalty and put mitigating factors forward to eliminate the death penalty.
Yep.
That's where we are right now. Fair enough?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know, folks. You can accept that he took a plea deal because you don't, you believe in data, or you can wait like I'll wait to see the data provided proof.
That's what I'm waiting for too. That's exactly what I'm waiting for.
We may never get that.
But Dago looks like he got beat up, but he's having a hard time because of the heat and the humidity and yeah, he probably needs to drink more liquids. I don't think an Alfred plea would pertain to this case. Fettuccine. What does fettuccine look like? We're looking for some
fettuccine.
No, where's some of them?
They're not going to offer him the opportunity to do an Alfred plea, right? I mean that's basically saying I'm not conceding guilt.
No, they won't.
They're going to let him plead that he doesn't concede guilt. I mean put it this way, if they do, that's going to create a firestorm of people sniffing around to what they're trying to cover up. So it would defeat the purpose, because I still think they're covering something up. I don't know. Does anybody else think they're covering something up?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Something's off. Something just doesn't seem right.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. And thank you there, Lucy and other Biff and others that have helped explain
the Alfred plea.
The Alfred plea. Old Alfred, we know our buddy Alfred.
Here's the thing: if this rumor, okay, is true, what they're stating is that he's accepting a plea of four life sentences without the possibility of parole, and he's waiving his right to appeal. With everything that's happened over 2.5 years, how does that make any kind of sense to anybody with this?
He's trying to save his life. That's the only thing he really cares about now.
But the system,
I don't know. I don't believe this yet. I told him in Discord, I'm just going to wait and see how this plays out. If there's documents that come out, every news station.
I would ask for is, listen, the only thing I would request if I was in his shoes and I actually did the crime is that the firing squad would be my preferred choice if you let me moonwalk back and forth as they're shooting.
You're a mess.
That ain't gonna happen.
Can you imagine? You could play that song, Beat It or something. And
Billie Jean, Beat It, yeah.
Yeah. Called Billie Jean Bullet.
Or one of Johnny Cash's songs.
I don't.
It's really hard to believe that Brian actually wants to live the rest of his life in prison. You would imagine that he wouldn't be doing very well in prison.
I agree.
And saving his life.
Why make that initial statement? Why make that first initial statement? I'm gonna prove my innocence, and then go right here to this at the end, where he is out of every straw before trial. That doesn't make sense.
I know, Heather. I know.
So the judge did come out and beat him down by denying all these motions that they've asked for. There's someone else down here. There's Kane. We got Kane in here. We got the purge.
It's weird that all this has taken effect now, that the continuance has been denied, that the alternate suspects have been denied, and now we have this that's thrown out of nowhere, like completely out of nowhere. There was no warning, no.
It's coming from the media.
It's not coming from the courts.
Right. Okay. I think the first person that dropped it was Brian Enton. Now ABC, NBC, everybody has it. Just like he had the I can't wait to be exonerated, and have they arrested anybody else? That was a good source too.
Yeah.
I don't trust any of these news stations. I'm sorry. Anything that comes from MSM until I see it in the document, I don't trust it. So.
What say you there, Purge? You got a new what?
He's got conspiracy theories for us about the shootings.
What? Purge.
The red pill, blue pill.
How did we get here?
How did you get the blue off of yourself? Your family's behind you, aren't they? The Smurfs?
That sounds like a green on the side.
Yeah, not one of them has the 5 head that I do, Sarge. Come on. Let's get to this.
What's up, Kane?
It's great to see you, Dago. I'm
you
sorry,
too, bud.
Struggling. We posted something there on the page to help you guys out. I hope people have been helping you. I know you got a loyal following, but
thank you.
It's very interesting, the Alfred plea situation. So you're literally claiming you're innocent, but accepting the charges, the consequences for the charges against you. Now, let's remember a case back in 1984 with Ronald Reagan and what happened in that particular case with Hinckley. Is that he was convicted of it or whatever. I don't remember even a trial. But
he had mitigating circumstances with mental health issues.
Right. And we have the same situation here, don't we?
No, we don't. No.
Well, we have the autism spectrum.
Brian's, no, but he's on a level 1.
Yeah, but they turned all that down.
He's got Asperger's at best, similar to what I have.
He has an understanding. John Hinckley didn't have the understanding that Brian does.
Yeah, John Hinckley was focused on some actress back then, too. He was trying to impress.
Yeah,
he was. You guys all seen the photo of Hinckley and Bush and
yes,
Bush Senior and Bush Junior and all that stuff. I'm sure Kane.
Oh yeah.
Someone thinks the sniper's connected in some way. I don't know.
A lot of people have conjectured that Hinckley never even served any time in the institution, that it was just all part of the act.
Maybe.
Now, something we came across in the documents the other day. And going back, I've been looking back at the last few weeks of the whirlwind of information and video and all types of things that didn't seem to be admissible in the court, right? But were somehow released to the press. If you look at the Dateline thing in particular, Hitler got so upset and mad over the leak, yet he had a week at least that they knew about this situation before it even aired. So if it was going to be a problem, why not put the effort into blocking it getting aired?
That's a good point, truly.
Hitler is poisoning the fucking jury pool himself by making the statement that there's no car involved in your 4 suspects, so they couldn't possibly be involved.
Yeah.
He's harming the jury pool himself with his own statements. He shouldn't be a judge. This guy shouldn't be directing traffic at a dead-end street.
He's basing the entire case on this stupid-ass car that doesn't exist, in my opinion.
Noise is Kane. Kane, what kind of noise you? Who's doing dishes?
That's not
or
me.
something?
That's Dago.
I'm making coffee. Sorry, Sarge.
Yeah, I'm muted. I'm muted.
I'm innocent.
No, you're not. Oh, you muted yourself.
I'm making coffee. You know how it is. Sorry.
It's 9:30 at night, Dago.
And when have you not known me to drink coffee? Come on.
The mere mention of coffee has me thinking about going to make some myself.
See, Jesse knows.
Is that Donald Ferguson, the 4th guy over? Is that
Don
be nice. Yeah,
it's Don be nice. He wants you to be nice.
Yeah. Yeah,
Donnie D.
My icon.
You are the funniest dude on YouTube for sure.
Thank you.
You crack me up all the time, man. I love your shit.
Why do you got a stream there, Don Nice?
Yeah, I mostly do videos on like streaming devices, like Android boxes and stuff like that. I do my wrestling, like from WWE. Make created wrestlers on those games.
Well, you got a link on here. You want to put a link in the? You want to put a link in?
No, I don't want to do that on your channel, Dustar. I don't want to do that. No, thank you. I like to get eyeballs.
I had no idea you did that stuff, Don.
Yeah, I need to get more consistent on it, though.
Well, you should have told me. I'd have given your link out and advertised you, sir.
Yeah, to try after 62 confessions, says Amanda Smith. Look at that. It's funny. Listen, we don't know that there's not going to be a trial, folks. Let me be clear. At this point, there is no documentation to support the rumors at this point stating that Brian Koberger has accepted a plea deal. And in fact, a lot of people are ignoring that right at this very moment. The thing going down with the case right now is Ann putting together witness lists so that she can get rid of the death penalty.
Yeah.
Go to conviction and then mitigation phase. I forget what it's called. So that's really where Ann's been, trying to get rid of the death penalty. And she's using these leaks and the jury stuff and all of that to get rid of the death penalty. Now you hear today, all of a sudden, Brian Koberger is being offered a plea deal without a death penalty. That should not surprise people. That would be the response of the prosecution,
especially after they denied the continuance. That's another part to that, I think.
Right. So at this point, who's that in the stream on your picture there saying go fact? What does that say in your picture there? Who is that?
It's Hitler's head on top of Muhammad Ali, and that's the friends and family message from Hitler.
Oh. Yeah, I'm just saying it's more likely, in my opinion, based on the info we have, that what we're being leaked is that there was a plea deal offered to Brian taking the death penalty off. In other words, the prosecutor saying, you don't want to die, then spare us the trial. Otherwise, we're going to trial and you're going to die. That's what I suspect is what's happening and what's being told to the public, and what you guys are all parroting and what all these streams are fucking preaching is Brian accepted a plea deal, which is unprovable at this very moment in time.
Now, tomorrow, if there's a document, then I definitely will have a conversation about it, because then we'll have absolute proof from the case.
Right.
That's my opinion.
Where it belongs.
Yeah. Exactly. And then that will make sense then. And then, okay, let's talk about that. That's true.
But there's usually an announcement of an offer.
That's what I thought.
And the fact that this plea deal, what people are being told is that death penalty be removed, and he'll spend the rest of his life in jail, is exactly the kind of offer that the district attorney would offer in the 9th hour.
Right.
That's not uncommon, folks.
Do they do that at the last minute just before trial though? In most cases, you usually get that at the beginning.
No.
At the beginning.
Well, No. Bill Thompson is known for dropping plea deals. Okay, that's his tag. Many of them he has dropped. So,
but again, the context from the Goncalves family for Kara, everything in the context of the Goncalves family is destruction to Brian. Whatever comes from them or their lawyer or whoever the fuck is on their side, everything proves the kid's guilt, and everybody else is a bunch of ignorant people for questioning it. So the fact that this comes from his lawyer, I just don't. It doesn't mean anything to me until I see a document. It shouldn't mean anything to anybody out there. What up, Miss W? She's finally back after. Look at. She's got
Miss W. WW.
But
Good to see you.
When do you think that document, though, if they're going to have it Wednesday, would have to drop tomorrow?
I agree. Well, today's Monday, tomorrow's Tuesday. We usually get documents on Tuesdays, so let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see if it's real. I mean, at this point,
let's see.
But you see how quickly,
wait and see.
Do you see how
I got
a lie? Listen, folks, if this is not true, this is the best example of how lies can round the globe infinitely in under a second. The truth could take fucking weeks, months, if ever.
The internet.
I got a theory. I got a theory for you. What if this is, I said this earlier, Lana said something about this too. What if this is a ploy to wash out the leak and the leaker? What if that's what this is all about?
Nah.
I know it's a stretch and I know it's a reach, but what if they went that far to figure out who's leaking? Because it's sure as hell would point it out.
Or do you think this Dago could be the leaker?
Could what?
You think it could be from the leaker?
No,
yeah, that's possible, but I mean, you definitely are going to have some backlash from doing that. But I mean, either way, I don't know. It was just a thought based on something Lana said.
Well, I'll wait till Wednesday and see. I want to see what happens on Wednesday. That's 11:15 is what they say.
You say something enough and it becomes the truth. You keep telling people this kid's guilty, and it becomes the truth in the mind of many because many won't question anything. They keep hearing something and they just think it's real. They don't know.
Well,
listen, I said this.
Oriani, real quick. Speaking of Oriani, remember the hearing today in Philadelphia that Ms. Potts attended?
Yeah.
News Nation did an hour-long piece with Vinny and all these FBI experts where they were convinced that these witnesses were being subpoenaed by the prosecution. They don't vet anything. They just run with whatever.
They just run with it, yeah.
And can you think of anything that would make him look more guilty than saying he had accepted a plea deal and now, he backed out of it. It's just them trying to use technicalities. So I got now there is another person that is vetting this that claimed they were on the phone with the prosecution, and that is Kim Kernodle, Xana's mom. And I put a link in the back. Sorry, Kara. I put a link in the back chat, Sarge, if you want to click on that and show it. It is
Court TV had something like that too with Vinny.
It is
taste of Italy.
And it's right along the lines.
Shut up, Jesse.
With what Christy Gonzalez was doing, as far as you remember how you said Steve G was trying to work his way up to the John Walsh FBI's most wanted status. Well, guess who else is on IMDb? Kara Kernodle.
Yeah, they all have those tags now. The IMDb license or whatever the hell that's called. I don't know. I just the way this all went down, and in a matter of time that it went down, I told everybody in the Discord, I can't believe it. But here's the facts, folks. Pure and simple. If Brian did it, he did it, and if he's going to admit to it, then he's going to prison for a long, long time. Well, until somebody gets their hands on him, because I think that's what's going to happen if it happens. And And that's it. It's over. We all move on.
Well, though, I disagree, because to me, the interest in this case was, why was the 911 call 8 hours late? Why was it basically staged?
Oh,
There's
yeah, I agree with you.
questions on the peripheral,
But that's my point,
like
Jesse.
that's what they're trying to hide. That's what they're trying to make us stop talking about.
That's my point. What's going to happen with all that when this is said and done? Brian's gone. He's in prison. What are we still talking about?
Yeah. That'll be the next big thing. I'll probably be people wanting interviews with him if he does go to jail.
Maybe they are trying to shut that down. That's a good point, though. I mean, they want to shut it down. Here, do that. But Brian wouldn't play into that, though. That's the difference. Neither would Ann. So that's still going to be what we're all going to talk about after the fact, is the absolute corruption that has happened in front of our faces. Meanwhile, this kid's done. He's fried. He's sitting in prison. That's it. It's over in that aspect. But I agree with you. No, it's not over by any means. Who's going to answer for that? Nobody. At least in my opinion, nobody.
I think the most truth that you can derive from the rumor, and the only truth that you can derive, is that an offer has been made that would allow the death penalty to be taken off the table. That's all at the most, if it has even been made. And yet you've got everybody out here, all of this nonsense. He did it. He didn't do it. I don't believe it. And it's like you're panicking about tomorrow, where your parachute's not going to open, only to find out tomorrow you decided to not go on the fucking trip. I mean,
yeah, right.
What are we panicking about? Am I going to run around worrying I'm going to die of heart failure and every day of my life until it finally happens? Come on.
We got risk.
No evidence that a deal has been offered. Well, there's no evidence that a deal was offered other than what they're saying on the internet and on these News Nation stations that convicted this kid the first day his name was mentioned. And
there's no documents yet. So until a document, like you always say, Dago and Sarge, believe it then.
Says sources near the prosecution. And here's the thing: if he did it, I want the kid executed. Whether he admits it or they show evidence that he was in that house and committed that crime.
Of course,
that motherfucker. But if there's no evidence to support the allegation, I want him freed.
And that's fact.
Four people and not one. I can see that if there was one person, but not four people. Yeah.
Here's the other problem with this too. If this is real and the plea deal, if he takes the plea deal and he does it's done, we are never going to see the truth or the facts or any of this other shit come out in the trial. We will never see any of that shit in the trial. None of it.
I do need it. Media assets. Hang on.
There's no trial then, so there's nothing to see.
Let's notice another anomaly here real quick, is that in the beginning he never.
Breaking news. Only 64 you wisecrackers hit like. Are you out of your mind? There's 164 of you in the stream. Don't make me find you. Do not make me hunt you down.
Come on, y'all. Hit that damn like button.
Good. It's like Twiz says, the lack of evidence has been the evidence against Koberger. Now, let's notice this anomaly. In the beginning, he never entered a plea. JJJ ended up entering the plea for him.
Right.
And now, if this new rumor is true, he's pleading innocent and accepting guilt. I mean, could you ask for more of a cross? Yeah,
but the prosecution won't allow that, though. Anything in there with innocence, they wouldn't allow that. They wouldn't take that deal.
What do you mean, Don?
If it ain't without no parole, they would probably, like you just said earlier, they're not going to offer anything besides guilty with no possibility of parole. And other than that, it's going to have a slippery slope.
I find it almost shockingly inconceivable for it to be real, in as much as beyond the scope that the DA is offering it. Not that Brian accepted and signed and is accepted the plea. That's a bridge too far until you actually see a document, and then you get the report from the court that he pled guilty.
That's a good point.
I heard the defense went to the state. What I heard.
Say that again.
I heard that the defense from from his client. The client told his attorneys, and attorneys went to the state and
No.
wanted to get the death penalty off the table.
Yeah, but they're not going to ask for a plea deal. The defense did not ask for a plea deal.
That's what I was hearing. That's what I was hearing. But it ain't
I
been
will.
confirmed. So
I'll guarantee you they
we'll
didn't.
see. We'll see. We'll see if it ever comes out, and see what happens on Wednesday.
No, it's a good point that Sarge made. Why would they continue on with the thing in Philadelphia and compel these people to testify if there was a plea deal already struck?
Why would they continue on with anything they've done right?
Well, this whole thing that they're doing in Pennsylvania too, these are going to be character witnesses for the sentencing phase to determine whether he gets the death penalty or not. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
And
the
they
death
claim
penalty's
that
on
none
the
of them
table,
want to
but
go to Idaho. None of them want to go to Idaho, though.
But let me finish, please. So all of the hearings you're seeing right now are all focused on the death penalty. So now you hear in the wind that there's a plea deal being offered to Brian Koberger, and instead of it being stated that way, which would fit the circumstances under which we know are real, the state offering the plea deal, right? That fits. But the idea that Brian Koberger accepted a plea deal is like a bridge too far. And so you see, if that happened, the district attorney, everybody would be out. There'd be news conferences. There'd be press releases.
Yes.
And you're not getting any of that from the
Right.
court system.
Right.
Right.
But
So-
Moscow hasn't had a press release or a press conference in 3 years since their last.
Dude, they would suck their own dick on TV if he signed that fucking document just to get attention.
I love it.
Yep.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see Wednesday.
You know,
Well,
see
if
what
Wednesday happens.
Joanne saying there is not a hearing on Wednesday. Now,
See?
No, I think there was already a scheduled hearing on Wednesday.
No, July 31st was the next hearing that was scheduled in Idaho.
And that's tomorrow.
June. This is June, Sarge. We're not in July yet, sir. Don't push me that far.
Wasn't there court stuff done today?
In PA, yeah, in Pennsylvania, not in Idaho.
There's this Ricky
June
Tan.
30th, yeah.
Ricky Tran wants to help Dago out and get him going. So type your whatever it is.
Yeah, put your cash
Give me your
out, David.
email. Yeah, get this guy back in the atmosphere where he's got air conditioning. He don't look like he's been beat up.
I don't have that.
Did what I could. You don't have your email address? Nothing?
Oh, my email. I can't type nothing though, because it'll knock me out of here. If one of my mods in the chat by chance, they can do it. If so.
Hang on, Ricky Tran. We'll get you some info.
That Ricky Tran guy looks like he's got a bit of cash in his pocket too. Look at that tie.
Ricky Tran looks well kept, like he went to a higher end school, and he looks like I think he flunked by the look on his face, but you'll never know until he tells us.
I heard he.
Might be in tech or coding.
I heard he was a really nice guy. That's what my
Yeah, there you go.
sources tell me.
Just
Yeah.
already. Cut
Do
it
what?
out, boy. No way. We'll
Yeah,
be on
they-
News Nation at 10 p.m. The G's.
Oh boy, are any of my mods in the chat?
Is there any?
Alicia's in there. Alicia, is she
Alicia.
a mod of yours? Alicia J.
Yes, she is. They should have the info. I can't do anything with it.
Lisa J, get Ricky Tran, and highlight Ricky Tran and put an email in there for Dago, if you don't mind.
There we go. Alicia took care of it. Thank you, Alicia.
There she is.
I
And then also
happen to
put
know
his
Ricky. Ricky
put his
already
e-
sent a measly $5. He should be ashamed of himself. That Ricky character.
Damn, Ricky, don't be shamed into sending more than you want to send. But
Every
goddamn,
little bit helps.
So send his email too, so Ricky Tran can talk to Dago to understand possibly what he kind of can't do and what why does Dago need a few dollars? He needs more than a few. He needs, I think, another 1,000.
I can give my email if you want my email over. I don't mind doing that here if you can hear me.
I'm sure he can. Ricky Tran, I think, is still here.
Yeah, it's MAYOR.
Seahawks fans already got you in the chat. She's written it down in the chat.
Okay.
Where?
Thank you.
Keep going.
Seahawks
Oh,
fan.
there it is. Joe Meyer is a Gmail Seahawks fan. Did it?
That's me. Thank you, Dandy.
That's good. There we go.
Dago's
Thank you,
still in the
Mr.
dark, Becky. He's actually staying at one of his relatives' houses until he can get that shit fixed.
You want to get this stuff up on this stream because I happen to have noticed that these streams talking about this subject, this plea deal, are really booming as far as the viewers go.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, we're cranking pretty good in here for this little stream with a few thousand followers. We're 185 over here on the tubes of you, and the rest of them I think come from 52 people over at X. We love X. X loves me.
Yes, sir.
Sending
I like
them
Rumble
some X
too.
love.
Rumble's good.
I don't get
I've
any
never-
Yeah, a lot of people do Rumble.
I got 3 people over there.
Yeah, I got.
There's another one that a lot of people don't know about too. It's called Odyssey.
I've heard of it.
Well, I hope people just stand back and realize the value of facts. And rumor is not worth even speculating or discussing. When
Well,
documents
just
show
imagine
when the
if it
announcement
comes out that Brian never agreed to anything, and this
Yes.
has been plastered all over the media. I mean, that I got to say,
Everybody's gonna look like fools and clickbait. Everybody's gonna be clickbait fools.
I know you guys probably disagree with me, or some of you certainly disagree with me, but I'm really, really skeptical of Ann Taylor right now. I'm not impressed. I've been holding out hope that she's been playing chess while everybody else has been playing checkers and playing the long game, but I'm sick and tired of waiting for her to show her cards. I mean, we're running out of time. It feels like the game's almost over, and she just looks weaker and weaker and weaker.
she's trying to work with the court itself directly and the laws of Idaho. So, you're running into a wall with this particular judge, fair or unfair, and she's still got to play her song to the jury. That's where
she's not playing the game with the public relations and the media, and she was pretty good at that in the beginning, like offering these carrots, throwing out these things for people to latch on to in order for the public perception of this case to sow some doubt in everything she's done in the last 3-4 months to me has just made him look more guilty.
Well, let me just but you realize that she's not allowed to come out to the public and say anything, and she can only release information that's allowable in a reply to a motion, or when she goes for a motion to eliminate, or a motion to suppress, or she's pushing for a discovery. In those, she's released tidbits. So what you may not know is that she's never made a public comment. It's always been through a court hearing or a
filings that we would see appeared to be designed to create doubt.
Right. Well, they did create doubt.
But the recent ones haven't created any doubt. It's been like a victory parade for the guilters the last few months.
I don't know.
Sorry, Serge.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, to that point, Jesse, you have the knife sheath evidence, right? My stump since the beginning has been the most important point that she can make is that, and I think you've said it before yourself, is that crime scene was absolutely 100% contaminated before the police allegedly even arrived. So why not start with that? And then you've taken away everything that you can possibly have against the guy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I'm a little bit pissed off that she agreed to let them destroy the house, and she agreed to the lie about. Why would she ever agree to lie about that IGG stuff?
I agree with that too.
That agreed upon lie. I mean, she should fight that tooth and nail, and it's stuff like that. If she fights that stuff, that creates a seed of doubt. That gives the public something to latch onto and say, why is the prosecution trying to destroy the house? And the defense does, then it makes it look like the prosecution's hiding something and she's not. But when she agrees to let them hide things, that doesn't do a lot for the way the public perceive this case, I don't think.
The number one mistake they made was moving the trial to that other place where they got it.
And giving up the speedy trial. The giving up the speedy trial and moving the trial. Yeah, both those two things.
Now she filed a motion to stop the destruction of the house 2 weeks after Kohberger was arrested. So it's not like she didn't fight it in the beginning.
And the state has a law that allows them to do that.
Whether it's allowed or not, it's a definite oddity. I don't think I've ever heard of it in another case, and from what I understand, it's a very rare thing to destroy a crime scene. What was the rush to do it? What was the rush to get all the furniture?
The university, push from that university.
I'll tell you what the rush was. The rush was they didn't want anybody to identify the guy with the vacuum cleaner that Dylan noticed that happened to be one of her friends that said, "It's okay, I'm here to help." That's what they wanted to prevent anybody seeing the cleanup. The dog was washed and dried. How the hell can that dog be blood free? That crime scene should have been contaminated to the extreme. And the idea that somebody unrobed in that house or even outside of that house to put their stuff in a bag means that there should have been a place of contamination on or near that, in or on or near that house. And nobody's ever mentioned
Well, wouldn't you think a dog would have blood on its feet, though, Dago? I was thinking that the other day. Why didn't that dog have any blood on its feet?
Yeah, the dog is a
whole topic in
itself, for sure.
Yeah, right. That makes everything go just.
It's not necessarily true that the dog was clean, though. I mean, the dog could have been separated from the scene. Is that not?
No, they found the dog in the room up
on the third floor. On the third floor. If that dog would have came down to the second floor, it would have got blood.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but if that's the case, the dog would have. Yeah, how many minutes is it going to take for the dog to go straight to those rooms and track blood? It's going to take a matter of like
seconds.
It's going to be instant. As soon as you let that dog loose, that's what that dog's going to do, right? So I just don't believe that they found the dog in the room and it'd been sitting, and it was nicely cleaned. I think they would have had to separate that dog from the situation somehow.
Another thing about the dog, Jesse, is you have 8 hours where the dog was by itself and you had 2 other people in the house. Right. And dogs sense things. They know. Why wouldn't they have gotten the dog, checked on the dog? The dog's barking. You got
the dog should be freaking out, right? Just going mental.
And so if it's going whimpering, you would think a lot of people have said, "Oh, it was in a frozen shock phase," and so it just cowered in the corner. Well, the dog
was now in a frozen shock phase.
Bathroom,
I'd like to see the science on that.
The dog.
It wasn't forensically examined, so there's zero science.
I'm being facetious. I mean, I don't think dogs have a frozen shock phase.
No, maybe can.
I'd like to see somebody try to scare a dog and see who scares first.
Right, especially a feisty puppy like we've seen in the videos.
Dogs scare pretty easy, man.
But yeah, JJ corrected me. It was hours after the Koberger was arrested that Ann Taylor filed a motion to stop destruction of the crime scene. December 30th.
I think
she did eventually agree to the destruction of the house, though.
I don't think she had a choice. They were going to do what they were going to do.
Who's got lawsuits coming? Angela Gigolo or whatever your name is, Giorgio, Angela. What? The family's got lawsuits coming against people that said that everything Steve Gonzalez has said has turned out to be a fucking lie. I mean, that's arguably fact.
When you say that she didn't have a choice, this is my point. These fights that she can't win, by agreeing to them, by agreeing because she can't win, she loses the battle of public perception, right? The way the public is going to perceive this. If she continues to fight the losing battle, it creates an illusion of innocence, hence why you're fighting. But when you cave every time, it's like that creates the illusion of guilt because you're not willing to fight.
Is it a cave when the judge makes a ruling and that settles the issue? What's there to fight?
Well,
the judge settles an issue, it's settled. Like it or not, Judge.
I mean, if the judge forces your hand, but there's been I believe the lying about the IGG and the destruction of the house. In the end, she agreed. She agreed to stop fighting, and I don't think that there was anything legally that prevented her from continuing to disagree with that. They can't force her to participate. I don't think they can. I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe that Hitler said you have to lie about this. It was agreed upon that they would lie about the IGG.
But in the end, the argument comes down to this. It's a simple argument, and I don't like it, and most people aren't going to like it. But if his buccal swab matched the DNA from the buckle or the button, then what's the argument?
Those are some interesting initials there. AG, as in Olivia Gonzalez, that's close to the family, that's so angry that lawsuits are coming for creators. That's some interesting initials that you have there, AG. I wonder who you are for real.
Who's that?
The
A
person
guilter in the chat.
about.
I don't give a fuck. You look at,
Well, I'm curious what AG thinks of Dylan apparently texting that I think they've been killed and then not calling 911 for 8 hours and then calling 911 and lying about a passed out drunk person.
We don't know that to be true, do we? No.
We only know that Steve Gonzalez apparently said that in his conversation with Brett Norton. And I believe, unless Lucy Morningstar is making images with Photoshop, that is in a text exchange between Steve Gonzalez and Brett Norton.
But that doesn't make the data accurate.
Well, it means that from the point of view of Olivia Gonzalez, it would mean that her father said that.
But here's the thing, though. Well, you got a text message, and I'm not saying I accept the text message at face value, but because he's told that doesn't mean it's true, which has happened the whole case. Everything this guy's
I just want to clarify. I wasn't suggesting that Lucy Morningstar was photoshopping anything. I was saying, unless she did, I was using that metaphor to strengthen the argument that it is a fact, and I have seen the image, and I believe it to be factual.
I don't deny the image is accurate. All I'm trying to point out is that everything he's been shared to the public has been a truth wrapped up in a lie. Everything.
That's true.
The door was forced by Hunter. Wait, the door was forced by Hunter. Now he's like, well, I don't know what. Could be any door. The idea that the DNA in the house, the transfer DNA wasn't it. There's more DNA. Wait and see. Only to find out none of it's Brian's. Right? Everything connected to the Wi. Remember, he connected to the Wi-Fi. His phone fucking hit their. That was a fucking lie.
I mean, even a liar tells the truth most of the time, right?
Yeah, he's always gets his context around Hammer and Cobra.
Like, for example, when he said those kids were cleaning up drugs by accident, I tend to believe that a little more than a lot of the other stuff. Like that whole conversation he was having when he was trying to suggest the kids weren't cleaning up drugs, but he slipped and said drugs. I happen to lean into that as potential truth.
Anybody saying people want to sue, let them sue. I don't. People are entitled to their opinion, and because there's no way to verify fact, any opinion that you put forward, even if it's 100% wrong, is still within the parameters of free speech. It's not like you're like remember when they were chasing the fucking people around from the Sebastian case, or chasing the parents around, videoing their locations. That butthole Betty does shit like that. That's now you're going too far. But to sit into a stream and give your opinion. If you could sue people, how many people should Pavarotti be sued for that he's impugned as being the criminals of the crime? And all these other streamers that keep telling you it was the frat, it was this guy at the grub truck, it was that guy, it was that. How come those people aren't going to be sued? And that's
pretty difficult to sue a guy who's living in Thailand and has no connection to the United States whatsoever. Good luck suing me, ladies
and gentlemen. Betty, that's what I call her. What happened to Dago? Did he come into money? He just dropped us like a hot tamale.
Too good for us all of a sudden.
He's probably on the phone with Ricky Tran right now, working out the details with the credit card payments.
Yeah, I hope
he might be using the plop plop machine. He was in there, right?
Plop plop fizz fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. Oh boy, a jingle. I don't even know.
So does anybody want to hear me speak Thai or what?
Yeah, speak Thai.
Jesse talk Thai. Thai
น้อง
very
โป้ย
well.
มาเร็วๆหน่อยเพื่อนอยากเห็นน้องโป้ยนะน้องโป้ยอยากอยู่ที่ทีวีไหมกับเจสซี่มาเร็ว
It's just like when you speak English, Jesse. We still don't understand you.
มา say hello เพื่อนชื่อไอ้ Friday เป็นคนแก่มันไม่หล่อน่าเกลียดมากเลยแล้วไอ้เคนตัวอ้วนมากหัวล้าน Kaiwan. Oh,
Don's
I-
face right now.
Listen,
I was saying that Kane's the fat bald guy, and she says, "Well, I'm fat too." She says, "Somebody tell her she's beautiful." My one, Nalak D. Hello.
Yeah, when I dated the Cambodian, she used to say, "You cheat on me, you cheat on me." I said, "What do you mean I cheat? That's for the bed."
I don't even want to know.
Broken English, man. I told a buddy of mine today, he said, "You're a motherfucker." I said, "Yeah, I might be, but you spent 9 months in there. I was only in there 3 minutes." Nobody gets that?
I got
Are you
it.
kidding me? How could you not get that?
We spent 9 months trying to get out and the rest of your life trying to get back in.
Yeah, just hopefully not your mother, though. Right? Oh my God, what a world. So anyway, Brian Kohlberger is his head is scheduled to be lopped off by a Perry knife wielded by Steve Gonzalez in July 30th, 2099.
They've made the t-shirts. I can't see them ever backing down now.
What t-shirts?
I noticed AG is silent since you called her out, Kane.
Well, they have t-shirts that say firing squad, this and that, and they've got a picture of it, and they were wearing them and parading them around the courthouse during some of the hearings. And that's where I get the thing that the Gonzalez, or Steve Gonzalez in particular, is someone who makes his opinion known, whether it be through his words or through his messages, through his clothing. And that was one of them. I have a picture of it. I'll present it in a minute.
Are you guys familiar with any of the
A bullshit? A bullshit?
And then when Jesse talks Thai, when Jesse speaks English, and when he speaks English while eating breakfast, all we hear from him is
A bullshit? A bullshit?
and this is a cue for everybody to stop talking because it's a breaking news cue. And that's the extent of my third world IT department's capabilities.
You outsourced all that, huh, Serge?
60 cents an hour, you can get all you can eat over there.
Is that true, Jesse? 60 cents?
60 cents is a little cheap. Let's see, what is the cheapest meal you can get?
I heard you can get lobster
probably
for
about $2 right now. It used to be 60 cents, but inflation, post-COVID inflation, you got to pay $2 for a meal.
All right, guys, I'm going to kick myself out of here. Bye.
Kane, you got no recent conspiracy theories or who did it?
Conspiracy theories? No.
Well, what about the shooting in Idaho today? I mean,
yeah, well,
clearly there's a link.
That I was working on that, and
kid looked like he was transitioning.
Like I said, it's a transpocalypse. It's like I was saying, in the last few weeks, we've had an amazing amount of activity where we sat dry as a bone for a year and a half, 2 years, and then all of a sudden you've got documentaries, you've got all this stuff. Now look at the thing in Coeur d'Alene. From what I understand, those firefighters were ambushed a mile away from the neo right-wing militia's compound. And so when you talk about tensions in Idaho, it's palatable. It's like people hear tensions and they think, oh, there's unrest. No, when you look at like the Christ Church caroling at Christmas in downtown Moscow, you have shop owners going like this, giving them all kinds of finger signs. And even the Christ Church guys themselves said they hate us. And so you have extreme right wing, you have extreme left wing with the university, with the professors in there. And so when you talk about now, you're going to take about, I think what it is a lot of the distraction that we're getting is hiding a greater cause between the government, perhaps, and these right-wing militias or something like that. And now, as it all spins out of control, it's rearing its head and surfacing.
Good. Dago, you're back. You're in yellow though. Did you go to Thailand and catch that fever from down there?
Where's Dago?
Now he's gone. He was here.
Speaking of the fever, I had the fever the last week. I was in bed for days and days and days. It was terrible.
Yeah, you were really bad there for a minute. I'm glad you're feeling better, bro.
Dago, come back. Dago, come back, Dago.
We need some Dago. We need some Operation GCD up in here too.
You shouldn't have bought them Dago tires, man. Just shouldn't have done it. They go through rain and they go through snow, and when they go flat, they go wop, wop, wop.
He keeps that camera running 24/7. You know, he's got his OnlyFans channel, so he used up all the power.
Can you imagine who tunes into his only channel, right?
I'm sure there's some freak out there who would love it. Let me see your feet. There you go. Let's see those meatballs.
Oh, yike. We got fucking. They did say there were possible multiple shooters, and this guy who I stumbled on last night had people calling in from the CDA saying stuff the police didn't like.
Really?
Huh.
I didn't
your devices are not connected. There you go. Yeah, I don't know.
Kane, if you want to be hip to the latest conspiracy on the shooting, that Birdie guy's talking about it. It was interesting. I'm sure Sarge is not interested in the slightest bit.
Bert, like Ernie and Bert.
This phone,
Birdie.
No, Birdie, Birdie.
Birdie.
I don't know. I don't know how any of you people stream off your phones. This is absolute bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it either. I hate the fucking phones. They're good for
real quick. I need to fix something.
Did you get in touch with that guy Tang or whatever his name is? Did you get in touch with him?
No, I didn't. I got my phone went dead, but whoever put my email address up, it's not right. You take the Joe off, it's just mayores74@gmail.com. That's my email.
I'll type it in for you.
Yeah, there's no Joe on it. It's just my last name, 74@gmail.com. I almost said AOL.
MAYORAS@gmail.com.
74@gmail.com. Yes, sir. Thank you. Good God. I'm losing my damn mind.
I put my email up there, and Jesse says, you spelled your name wrong. Nigga, ain't my name, man. But okay, I did spell it wrong intentionally.
That was,
that was fun.
Apparently, I can't do it.
You have to be a mod or the creator. Sorry, that's kind of
spell your email address.
MAYORAS74@gmail.com.
My ass, it's 74@gmail.com.
Yep, that's what I was called in high school. My sore ass.
Oh, damn. His ass hurts. We knew it. Someone private chatted me. Where they private chat me? Oh, there's the email. Thank you, Jesse.
What would we do without Sarge, without anybody to report to? Talk about somebody who speaks their fucking mind. It's good.
I told 12 Gauge he looked like Mr. Potato Head. Now you'll never see him the same way again, ever.
Oh,
ever.
Man. Just the thought of those guys like 12 Gauge and Gray Hughes and Daniel doing their victory laps and well,
he solved the case already anyway, you guys. Tandy knows. We watched it one night. He thinks that he committed the murders and then he went into the bathroom and flushed everything down the toilet that he had on, including the weapon. He solved the case, y'all.
He flushed it down the toilet?
That's what he said, that Brian flushed it all down the fucking toilet.
Well, it's possible. I think in the world that 12 Gauge comes from, big things do go down his toilet. And so him thinking pants and shirts and shoes would fit wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. I love it. Not full of gravel.
12 Gauge is innocent.
He's okay. I like 12 Gauge. He's not
I used to until he came at me.
I don't
Come
like him.
at me.
The first time I met him, he started calling me a drunk. You stupid drunk. I seen you
Yep.
drinking wine, talking shit. You're an idiot. Well, you don't even know me, bro.
That's it.
Yeah, I've
See?
never had a confrontation with the guy. And I invite people up here that don't like me. You're welcome to come up here. I even brought Rolo the clown in here.
Good luck with
Boy,
that,
he got
guys, by
mad.
the way.
Huh?
I said, good luck with anybody coming up here that's a hater.
Hey, it's fucking
Ooh.
awesome, bro. He came in here. I was talking about, being with his mom. And he didn't like that.
That has been clipped. I can't remember where I saw it, but somebody clipped that.
And they played it somewhere else?
Yeah, it's been going around.
What I want to see the clip. Who's got the clip of me going off on his mom in a very nice, respectful way?
Kane, where is that? Was it you that clipped that?
I'm the one that
No,
went.
I think it was Birdie. Birdie or one of these new guys, maybe Outcast, maybe Birdie, one of those two.
And they took my takedown of a Rolo the Clown and played it.
And I think they're kind of friendly with Rolo. They like Rolo, so. And it's kind of, there's clips of Rolo in there talking about, oh, fucking kick his ass and this and that,
He's gonna come beat me up.
Yeah, no, it was good entertainment value and like.
Well, you know what I told him to do? I told him to stop stop masturbating the pictures of his mother.
Well, you know what they say.
Apparently that bothered him. I don't know why.
The only thing that's worse than talking shit about you is not talking about you at all.
Yeah. Right. What kind of fucking Fruit Loop masturbates to his mother's pictures? I don't want that guy in my stream. Get the fuck out of here, you filthy bastard. I don't know where I come up with these things, Kane, but somehow my mind and tongue sharpen and they just lash out.
I'll be honest with you, Sergeant. It's one of the best burns I've ever heard. We will go up in the Hall of Fame.
I should be
epically legendary.
I think it was too. Masturbation.
I've been gone 5 days. I've been gone and nothing's changed. I can see nothing at all.
Listen, that guy was
Sarge isn't going to change, Dago. He's set in his ways.
Oh, it's been 3 years of this. 3 years of this shit, guys.
But
it's
if I'm on your team, listen, if I'm on your team, you don't got a better fucking teammate.
Listen,
that's a fact.
There is that.
Sarge is the kind of guy who keeps his pool immaculately spotless and never uses it.
No, I'm in my pool every day.
He's in his pool all the time.
Cool.
I love my pool. But no, I don't know. I think look at if I give you guys what I think of myself, besides being the smartest, best looking motherfucker you'll ever stumble across, I'm also very kind and reasonable.
He's got a good heart. He just doesn't want nobody to know about it.
Don't try to attack me because you'll find yourself in a situation where you're having a battle of wits and you have no wit. You're done.
Yeah.
You're outgunned. Just leave it alone. Right? I mean,
so Christina's got her panties in a knot that we're talking about other creators, but the only person that we said anything negative about was 12 Gauge, and I mean we're only defending ourselves because he's the one that wanted to.
No, we're having fun.
A fight with us.
Look, I mean, come on. Blah blah blah. Just get out of the stream. If you look at you're one of those women that's never cooked a meal for your husband. We don't want you in here. Get the fuck out of here.
I only said what I said because he attacked me first, so I don't talk about people on a regular basis. But he came at me first.
He attacked me the moment I came into his stream, and I had been invited by Jeff H. Jeff H. You were there, Dago, when he said 12 Gauge would love to have you up and talk about give another perspective. So I jump in their stream and get trash talked immediately. Total disrespect. And
Christine, guess what? Wait, hang on. Christine, you're so important to my stream that you're going to get the fucking ban hammer. Go fuck yourself. Okay.
Anyways, most of these guys we're talking about started by being invited onto Dago's stream and treated very fairly and allowed to have their say. And then they have a difference of opinion and they want to go to war. And half of it's probably fake just to drum up views, to be honest. So, I mean, yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
Well, I don't typically, there's people out here that I disagree with. And I'll mention them, but I don't go after them. CJ, I don't agree with. I don't agree with how all that went. But listen, not agreeing with it and making an issue and attacking the guy are two different things. Right? So, when it comes to Rolo the Clown, I don't think that there's a better fucking fit for a name that you give everybody out here. That dude is absolutely a fucking clown. And then when I say so many people are blissfully ignorant, you're blissfully ignorant. You don't want to question anything. Here's the narrative, and you go on and defend that narrative, and you don't even know that's what you're doing.
I'm plugged in.
It's chaos. Who are you talking to, David?
I was talking to my wife for a minute. Sorry.
All right. So yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you can talk shit about others. I talk shit about Cluminati and how big she is, and her Bigfoot husband. He's like a 6 foot, 9 foot tall Bigfoot that only weighs 100 pounds. What are you going to do with that?
But you still chat with Cletus, don't you? And he comes on your stream once in a while.
Yeah. He was the co-host originally, but they stream over there where they're having these, and it's entertaining. You know, the gossip and the drama and the back and forth between them and other streamers. I just don't want to participate in that. If you're out here to entertain, man. And if people buy into that entertainment, then fucking milk it, bro. You know,
I'd like to keep it civil and speak respectfully about everybody, but it appears that not everybody wants to play by those rules.
They do. Yeah.
And you know, when they constantly say you guys are the stupidest people on the planet, if you don't know that Brian Koberger is guilty, you're so stupid. I mean, at a certain point, you got to defend yourself.
What's not even defending yourself? It's just a matter of common sense. Show me I don't think anybody's asked any question that is a reasonable question to get an answer from. Why was there an 8-hour delay? I don't think that was an unreasonable question, and it's not victim shaming.
Right? Not at all.
And you know, there's no timeline to the events that Dylan claimed she experienced, and the timeline to those need to be clear. When did she see this guy in the mask? Before the dog started barking or after? I mean, there's just so many questions that are left unasked, and they should have been asked by the investigators themselves in many cases.
Yes, sir.
I honestly, my gut feeling tells me that what we're hearing today, and all of these people screaming and yelling, and the guilters and the fucking the pro burgers, I think it's an offer from the district attorney to Ann Taylor on behalf of her client at best.
It could be. Right.
And now everybody's going to be arguing, is Brian going to sign it this week? Is today the day Brian signed? I mean, oh my God.
Yeah.
They want to believe that. But, you know, if you're of the ilk of a person, and look, there's probably 4,000 of them that show up when the puke chickens are on or anybody else, and they want to gobble it up. But if you are actually assimilating that information as the truth, you are missing the bigger picture, because you are believing in people that have admittedly lied in a death penalty case, and not only admitted that they lied, then reverse thrusters and doubled down on their lies, clearly right in front of you. Now, one thing I noticed when you talk about the firefighter case in Coeur d'Alene was, I don't know if it was the ISP guy or if it was the mayor, whoever was giving the press conference. He made a very big point right at the beginning of his speech to say, this doesn't happen. This is rural Idaho. We are a family-based operation. It is a wonderful place to live, a wonderful place to stay, and a wonderful place, most importantly, to visit or to move to. And I was like, wow, where have we heard this before? Is that like the standard MO of a speech in Idaho?
It absolutely is.
You guys follow me on that?
Yeah, Chief Fry said the same thing. So did Roger Lanier, however you say his name.
For most of us, though, in all fairness, for most of us that are middle class or close to either way, above, below a little bit, we all have the idea, and we're all pretty accurate in saying our communities are fairly safe and decent. And look at, there may be, I don't know how many murders a year, 30,000. I don't know if that's even right. But let's say there's 30,000 and there's 350 million of us. So relatively, when you look at the percentages, what percent is 30,000 of 350 million? Not very much. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's
that would be a big percentage, Sarge, actually.
30,000 out of 350 million?
I'm pretty sure you're about 20,000 up. But I hope, at least.
But 30,000 is the number. The percentage is tiny. 10% of 350 million is 35 million. 5% of that's 17.5 million. 2% of that is 6 point something million, right? 1% of that is 3 million, and you're talking 30,000. It's not even a percent.
You got them started on numbers. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I think Chicago even is like 700 for the year, and that's
I'm being generous when I say 30,000. I'm being generous.
That's extremely good.
Okay, all right. Then if it's even lower than that, then we can we can say with confidence that we live in safe communities. Fair enough. Yeah.
Well, it depends on if you want to use numbers and statistics. You have to remember that, especially we've seen in Idaho, that they have a really bad habit of not taking a report or filing something like somebody being cut up into 6 trash bags as a natural causes accident. So it just depends on who's adding up the statistics to protect their image.
Yeah, they definitely don't take reports. They don't care for them.
Well, let me tell you that there's been an average of between 25 and $45,000 car deaths a year. And that's before the seatbelt laws and after all these airbags and all these fucking safety features. The averages really don't change. And it's kind of strange. I mean, some things are just, the law of averages will always exist, and you're going to have a number of bad things happen. And it's just the way the world works, man. I'm more concerned with the way people have just surrendered their capacity to think. They don't question. They don't seek answers to questions, and that's how you're supposed to think. You don't just take what people tell you and run with it like this nonsense. Brian accepted a plea deal. Well, where's the documents? Where's the announcement from the court? Where's the I'm not saying he didn't, but no, I am saying he didn't, because where's the evidence that he did?
Wait till tomorrow, and if we see documents that say that this happened, then we will all say, yep, there it is. And until then, I don't even believe that there's a hearing Wednesday, because I haven't seen a motion. I haven't seen a document stating that there's a hearing. I haven't seen anything. Nothing. I look at the documents constantly, and so do my mods. Constantly. There's nothing in there. There'd be a
period between the time of the offer, the acceptance, and then the actual appearance in court.
I would think.
Weeks.
And that's why this makes no sense. No sense to happen in overnight. The day after a hearing in Pennsylvania. Like, what? None of this makes any sense.
It feels like a distraction to me.
It sure does, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Just one more smoke and mirrors show. Look over here, not here.
It's not a distraction. It's not a distraction. It's a way to poison the jury pool.
Right.
Well, we've seen how much jury tainting in the past 2 months. Nothing but.
Which I submit is exactly what this whirlwind of stuff. And now the head of the beast is surfacing. You know, the Lucy Morningstar from the dark world underworld is rearing its ugly head, and they can't keep it down anymore. So I think there's a lot more to it, and I think you're exactly on point, Dago, with the with the conjecture that
isn't Brian Ed like Baghdad Bob?
Like what?
Baghdad Bob. Remember when that guy from Baghdad was on the news saying we have everything under control? The infidels are dying by the droves.
Yes.
Over his shoulder, there's tanks blowing his fucking city apart.
Yeah.
There's Marines running building to building, fucking flushing people out of fucking hiding spots. And this guy's saying everything is under
Let's
control.
not forget the summer of love.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
No, what did uncivil law say? He's a smart guy.
They're him and Ashley Banfield. They're all part of News Nation, and I don't trust anything that News Nation puts out. So,
well, it's not a matter of trust. It's a matter of just verify. We can say anything we want.
Oh, that's what I mean. His reliable sources have been wrong before, Sarge, many times.
Right. Who's Christy? Is that
Christy Nevada?
That's one of my mods.
Gonzalez. I'm sharing a
picture. She got a bigger face than all of us. How does that happen?
Oh, you have to move my big fat ugly head to see the T-shirt, and move to subscribe to Yah News. You'll see that it says something about the death penalty.
Yeah,
video file that I made.
Daniel's been selling those in his live streams, guys. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? Oh yeah.
Selling what?
Supporting the death penalty things, T-shirts.
Oh, I support the death penalty.
I can't find a better picture. Sorry, Serge.
It's not that. It's in regards to this case, though. That's the whole point behind it. Basically pushing to get Brian put before the firing squad.
I'll tell you what, Steve G is going to have some interesting things to say if this becomes official.
He already made a statement on Facebook, I think, that he said that, because he believes it, of course. He said that the state of Idaho has let him down.
Well, I know, and he's going to be pissed, and he's going to be on the warpath, and he's going to try and release all the, because to me, it's pretty clear that he changed his story so dramatically to support law enforcement and support the state of Idaho. So he's got all sorts of things that he's been lying about. And I wonder, don't be surprised if he starts to come clean and says, I don't support those roommates. They were lying the whole time. I don't support law enforcement. They lied to us. What else is he going to say?
Yeah, it's a good point.
It'll be interesting to hear what he has to say after this plays out.
I agree.
Hey, ballpark. No, we support the death penalty. I think if someone is accused and proven guilty of murder, that they themselves should be eliminated. And that's simple for me. Well, Christy, what's going on? You're up in here. You have the floor.
Christy, Nevada?
Is Miss Christy up here?
Christy?
The Christy is that just a picture of somebody? Who is that?
Oh, I have if you look at the second one, it's a video of them with the t-shirts on it. It's an AI video I made out of the
okay.
Who is that?
That's Christy and Steve.
That's Steve and Christy Gonsalves.
This
don't
is
look
what
like Steve.
Apparently they wore to one of the court hearings.
Yeah, that's him without his mustache, Sarge. He shaves clean every now and again.
Well, I think the AI might have removed it. Yeah.
I remember the hearing that they wore that to, actually. I remember her wearing the death row t-shirt, and yeah.
Is that why they brought up whether or not the family members should be allowed
in
the courtroom? Okay.
Yes. That's exactly where that came from, because they had that on, and he said he changed it before he went to the courtroom. I don't believe that at all. I think he tried to get away with it and wore it in, and then was told, you got to go change that. So,
well, do you know that Twiz said that AR held the door for Steve, and Steve knows who AR is, and I guess there was some kind of grumble.
Yeah, it was.
Also, Twiz and AR were in the bathroom with Bill Thompson.
Yes.
And I'm like, man, that had to be awkward right there.
Yeah, AR told me that there was a bit of an exchange with him and Steve, and it was not the nicest thing, and he was trying to be polite, holding the door, doing, just being a normal person. This is, whatever. And yeah, there were issues, and he got a couple looks from that side of things too a few times. So
I want to say to Jay Marie, whatever your arguments about the death penalty is, that's fine. But as far as I'm concerned, if you willingly take another person's life, you should forfeit your own. And I don't do that because I don't care if it's a deterrent. I don't give a fuck what it means to anybody else looking in, other than if you make that choice, be aware that you're also surrendering your own life. And it doesn't have to be a deterrent, right? I mean, and so to think that that's unjust or unfair, well, how about the person that you killed? How unfair was it to them? At least in this situation, fair enough, right? You kill, you be killed. Right, what's going in, and if that means nothing, if your own life means nothing to you, then go kill people, right?
I support it in some instances. There's some that I'm not as supportive with, but like I said, a life for a life. I think, and I know a lot of people don't like this, but my thoughts are in a lot of these crimes, eye for an eye. Whatever has been done, whatever you did to people, I think should be done to you in some senses. That's facts. That's just how I feel.
Well, you trade stealing something for time behind bars and loss of freedom, right?
Yeah, and some third world countries, sometimes you steal something, you get your damn hand cut off. Period.
In the Arab world, that happens a lot.
A lot, yeah. You get caught cheating on your spouse, some bad things happen to you, things like that. I mean, I'm not saying that should happen to people here. I'm just saying, I know what you're saying. You're saying if Rolo the clown went to an Arab world and stole twice, his mother's pictures wouldn't help him at all. I did not say a word, Sarge.
That's what you're saying. Admit it.
That, Diego.
Listen, I tried to give Rolo quite a few chances, guys, and I've told him the way you approach people is why you struggle so much. If you didn't come in calling people stupid MFers and telling everybody how dumb they are because they don't believe what you're saying, you wouldn't be approached and treated like you were. If I was very respectful to him and treated him well, and he's still, you dumb motherfuckers, you don't know what you're doing, blah, 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 blah. Okay, you got to go now. Bye. It's just ridiculous. You know,
I've never had issues with Rollo, but I could see how others would. But I
He
certainly
doesn't.
wouldn't put him in the same category as that other dude. What's his name again? Jeff H's buddy, 12 gauge and
no.
these clubs.
I found 12 gauge more reasonable. I can converse with 12 gauge. I've had him on the panel numerous times. I can actually engage in a conversation. We respect each other's point of view. And we think maybe their point has got validity, maybe it don't. And
That
we
was
can
then.
engage in a conversation. How he is now, I don't know. I mean, I
He's a lot different. He's a lot different than he used to be, Sarge. I used to like him. I told you that. Things have changed with him.
He comes
Just
from that guy.
another guy who took advantage of you, Dago, jumping in your stream, getting his name out there, and then attacking you later on down the road.
It's actually Miss Potts, believe it or not.
Is that Miss
Shut
Potts?
That's a picture of Miss Potts. Yeah.
Let her know I'm a Pan. Okay.
I'll text her right now.
I'm going to change my name to Pan. Potts.
Miss Annie.
She should not be allowed. I think it's false advertising for her to call herself Miss Potts. She should have a name like Adriana or Lana or something really super sexy. It's just false advertising running around calling yourself Miss Potts.
She's got a hell of a
had the wool pulled over my eyes.
She's got a hell of a brain, you guys. Think about that. She's a very smart woman. I appreciate and respect her for that because there's so many things that she's made me understood I had no clue on. So
No doubt she's an intelligent woman, but getting her ears and knees to touch would be pretty fucking hot too.
Yeah,
Fucking
I don't know anything about that.
You're seeing it, you just won't say it. You bunch of fucking lopers.
do I really want to come back to this? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Knees and ears are my favorite two parts of a woman's body.
Just so you know, Miss Potts, I respect you. I would never say. I can't believe you sometimes. I swear to God.
What? A woman looks like a fucking model. Were you supposed to not just say nothing?
Well, yeah, you can say it respectfully, of course. Like that's a very beautiful woman. You can say those.
You can hum Shakespeare all fucking night long, honey. I don't care. Read fucking literature. I don't mind. No matter how smart you are, it's nice when they're hot like that.
Starts in the gutter and then works its way down.
So anyway, do you guys think that there's going to be documents dropped tomorrow?
I think at best Wednesday, but I'm starting to get on board with you guys that this whole thing is just a magic show.
Well, it's usually Tuesdays and Fridays that I've seen them drop. I mean, every occasionally they'll drop something out of the whim, but I don't know. I don't know.
The thing is like I said before, we went dry for 2 years, so I don't expect anything ever. It's like it's always a surprise to me that something's being released, and then it's like they are on a schedule right now, like you said earlier.
Well, yeah, for 2 months now they've been just hammering, boom, 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 boom. Because the trial's right around the corner, or it was. I don't know if it is. We'll see. I just think all of this is very ironic that all this stuff has happened over probably the past 2 weeks. You know, the DoorDash driver thing. Then we get the continuance denied. We get the alternate suspects denied. Now we have this rumor. Like, it's just. I agree that if it's not true, it's just one more smoke and mirror situation, in my opinion.
Oh wait, I shared the wrong one, Sarge. That's the title of that picture is Hitler's Just Don't Understand. Here's the actual one. Sorry about that. Who did join?
The Coneheads.
Great Pearl.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Hey, Gray Pearl, how are you?
Hi.
How you doing?
How are you guys? I'm good. I'm not staying up. I just came up because the testosterone needed to be a little bit broken up. And I want to say that everybody on this panel is bullshit.
You wanted to break up the testosterone. You should have brought Miss Potts with you. For God's sake.
That's why I was coming up. I'm saying if anyone disagrees with what Sergeant said, looking at that photograph, you're all full of shit. You're all lying.
You're all full of shit. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
My
They were
God.
all thinking what you were thinking, Sergeant.
My face would make a perfect chair.
So Twist, hey Greg, good to see you, hon.
It's good to see you guys too. Seriously, I really just came up to just break your balls for a second. I'm gonna drop, but you guys
Nothing.
continue.
Forget about it.
It's a good show.
Twiz says that Koberger's parents said that a
I'll talk to you
portion.
guys.
Take care, hon. Thanks for joining us. Portion of the plea may have been agreed to. Is that what it?
Am I
that
the
what
only
that
one
said?
that thinks that's absolutely stupid?
That makes zero. That makes zero sense.
They're saying, listen, a plea deal appears to be in the works, and that's what I'm saying. Go ahead.
What do you can't say that we agreed to some of it, because that's like, yeah, we're guilty. We're gonna, we're prepared to,
Well, they agree to taking the death penalty off the table.
How I've seen plea deals work is if one is brought to the table, a lot of times the defense has the ability to look at it and bring a counter and say, okay, I like this, but I don't like that. So here's my counter offer. And then they go back and forth. That's how I've seen them done. If that's what this is, maybe, yeah, that would make some sense.
Statement saying we've agreed to some of it and not all of it.
That's a little odd. I agree.
I mean, you might as well agree to all of it, because you don't have any bargaining power now. If you're
or none.
Public statements that you're agreeing to some of a plea deal, your bargaining power is gone, is it not? Am I wrong about that?
I mean, I would think so. Yeah, it seems that way. I don't know. Twiz, what do you?
Seems like you would not want to comment on a plea deal if it's not been agreed to.
That's my point. Yeah, like you wouldn't, if you don't want to put any news out if there's no news yet. Like, that's definitely strange. I don't know. Twiz, what do you think? I mean, do you think this is the real thing? What's the deal with it? What's your opinion? You've been there. You've been at the hearings. You've been involved. I'm just curious about your opinion. And that being said, make your statement. I'll be right back. I gotta grab my drink real fast, folks. And I can't take you with me because I'm plugged in.
Here it is on the screen. It's on the screen for you all to read. I mean, I could read it if you want me to be like Miss Potts, but I ain't ever looking like that. But I can read. So a plea deal. Let me get it. A plea deal appears to be in the works for Brian Koberger, the man accused of murdering. An attorney for the family of the Gonclaves, one of the victims, confirmed that they received a proposed plea deal for Koberger. A proposed plea deal for All right, I'm not reading anymore. Okay, that's the truth. That's what I said when I opened the stream. For fuck's sakes, there is no plea deal at this point. So all of these people running around saying there's a plea deal, wait and see if he signs it. But like I said, it made more sense based on the data we have to consider an offer that would remove the death penalty. And that's what we're being told. But that all conforms to my analysis that it's an offer. Will he accept it? I have no fucking idea.
But that makes it even worse for his parents to be making statements that we've partially agreed, or it's been partially agreed to. I mean, that doesn't rub me the right way. That rubs me the wrong way for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ashley, I don't even care what Ashley said. But at this point, it's fair to say that there's a plea deal being offered to Brian Koberger. As to what, if anything, happens with it, time will tell. But other than that, we have no other information at this point that we can confirm. And between the news agencies and the parents from both the victims and the accused have made statements. So, again, but it comes down that a plea is being offered.
It could very well be the telephone game where who would benefit from a leak like that? The prosecution, obviously, right? So if they are going to continue along the leak train, why not go in balls deep, right? So, we have a plea deal, and then it gets interpreted as he's guilty. Look at
Sarge. Can you highlight the done one comment?
The what comment?
That one, yeah.
Done one. Well, it's like Dago was saying at the beginning of this broadcast there, that what did they say about Brian Koberger in the beginning? That he asked about if anybody else was arrested, and then the jail guard allegedly came out and said, I stabbed them, I'll stab you too, which all turned out to be BS. The guy who they said they got that from wasn't even working that day. So
right.
They'll just run with anything, and then they will never admit their mistakes. So who are you going to believe?
I think this is a fair point, this comment from the Dunn one, because, Brian Koberger's parents haven't said anything to any networks. No comment. And then at the very time that they should be saying nothing, they say something. This is the last time they should be saying anything.
They haven't spoke out in 2.5 years. Why start now? That's a great point.
Well, if he's agreeing to it in part, it's that he wants the death penalty removed. How much you want to bet?
Sure.
Well, I just don't know how you agree in part, though, because once you agree, you're saying you're guilty.
No. You agree with part of their terms. In other words,
right, and that's where you put in the counter offer. That's how that works. Well, we don't know what's going on that aspect. If they said we'll take the death penalty off the table if you'll take life without parole, but you're going to waive your right to appeal. Well, I don't like the waiving my right to appeal, so here's my offer back. I'll take life without parole, but I want the appeal. Then they take and they work on it.
Negotiations fall apart, but you've already publicly stated that you were going to agree to plead guilty. Now you're kind of fucked.
I think he can pull that back, though. I think he can if it's not been 100% agreed upon. I think he can pull that back.
But you can't pull back the statement from your parents saying that we partially agreed.
If that's true, yeah, no, that's the fact. That's why I don't believe that they said that. It's been too long. They haven't made a damn.
But there's something happening in the works behind the scenes, and we'll know what that'll be in a day or so. But it's a proposed plea deal, and that's the what I want to stress. That at this point is the safest conclusion we all can make. I don't care how good of a streamer, how much research you do, or how much of an opinion you might have. We're still tentatively they're making an offer of a plea deal. Doesn't mean he accepted it. We don't know what it means other than there's a deal being offered. If he takes it, he takes it.
Yeah.
I don't suppose he will, but I've been wrong a lot when it comes to the judges and how some of these people act in court. So,
well, the way he stood silent for his initial plea, he hasn't said a word in 2.5 years. They haven't played any weird, crazy cards. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make sense as far as I'm concerned. A plea doesn't make sense. Okay. Unless, and here, this is an opinion, unless there is, maybe the defense tested some of this DNA and something came back they weren't comfortable with and said, okay, we got a problem. Or, the prosecution's playing cat and mouse with them and said, we got this, that, and everything else on you. Here's what we're going to do. It'd be your best bet. But I don't believe that. So these are options, theories. That's all they are. So
it's more consistent with the defense playing leak, impugn, degrade, demoralize.
Yeah,
they have a history. It's
absolutely
like one dot leads to the next, and that would be a bargaining tactic, in my opinion.
Yes.
I mean, wouldn't this be grounds for a mistrial if
that's
if if you got a report saying that he's accepted a plea deal and in fact that's just a flat out fabrication, to me I'm filing for a mistrial right away. Because how do you what's the term that Bob Alessi said? This is not repairable, irreparable.
Irreparable, yeah. Now this could be a ploy from the defense since they didn't get the continuance. Okay. To cause.
Honestly, I doubt Ann would do that.
Well, if she has no other
reason, she had 1 trillion reasons to fight back against the lies, and she didn't do it. She filed motions, and that was it. They were held under seal, private hearings. So for her to come out and break that, I'm not so sure you could lay it at the feet of the defense. This is more manipulation by the state to prosecute Brian Koberger. Now he's under pressure to take the plea deal. The public knows it. And this guy is going to have to either out and out refuse it. I stood silent. I stand silent. And therefore, no matter what you offer me is not going to work. I did not commit this crime. That's his only stand, or he's got to say, yeah, okay, I did it. And he's going to have to admit to it. He's going to have to tell us how he did it.
Yeah, well.
Right? We all want to know how a fucking handicapped autistic dude slaughtered 4 people, beat one of them to death, stabbed her 54 times, and did all of that in fucking, based on the timeline I can assemble, 3 minutes.
Yeah, if that's what this is going to be, I damn sure want to hear how you did this. That's what I said. I want to know Because I don't see how you did it, bud. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
But
somebody
got
please
12
tell me
gauge
how he
behind
did
him.
this. The
Kane brought
wildest. Go ahead.
You brought 12 gauge with you.
The only way I'm going to believe it is if it involves Kopaka or another
somebody else.
Yeah,
somebody else. Yeah,
is involved.
There's no way he did it by himself. And if he did, I want to know. That's what I said. I want to know how. You're dyspraxic. You know, your hands, your body. I don't believe that. It doesn't make any damn sense. So
you can bet that they don't vet, and so to believe what Brian Enton is spewing out, it would be ludicrous at this point. And
yeah, I agree. I do. I agree with you.
Remember that guy that came out in the Sebastian Rogers case with a video that hadn't been seen yet?
Yes.
What was his name there, that jerk off?
Oh God, Sarge, what do you?
Actually, there's no confirmation that Brian Koberger has been given a plea deal or accepted a plea deal. There's no fact to support that. It's rumor at best, and it's just the news of the day.
There's news stations everywhere putting it out, and everybody thinks this. Guys, remember, we've talked about this for 3 years or more. Mainstream media is not real news. It is bullshit.
Yep, they're coming to YouTube now. Look at you have Anjanette Levy over here.
Yep.
Huck and all
Vinny's
kinds of
got a channel. Yep, they're all trying to get their way, worm their way in here, guys. Mainstream media is a scripted show.
Listen, they steal our ideas and our themes and our findings all the time with no credit given whatsoever. So there's no shame in their game at all. And they're just at least if we present an idea here that another creator came up with, you're going to give them credit. I mean, it's a collective pool here. We're all trying to come to some kind of reasonable conclusion in this case. So there's no, this is my little topic. It's a big secret. It's just building upon the little DNA strands, trying to make a connection onto the bigger cell.
Mm-hmm.
Also, people, you have to realize that the parties involved are going to be notified if the plea deal is going to be offered. So none of this steps outside of the idea that they're offering a plea deal, but none of it confirms Brian has accepted the deal. And
I've never even seen. Yeah, and I've never even seen an offer dropped where it's already been talked about the day after or the same day. Like, I've never seen anything like that happen. There's time
about it until it's signed, sealed, and delivered, right? I mean, there's a gag order. So how could this even be discussed?
Exactly, and if that's the case,
not fall under the gag order.
That bingo. And if that's the case, then you better check within your own selves there in the court systems about who's leaking shit, and you're allowing for it to be put out there. Like, what's the deal here? That's a mistrial in itself, in my opinion. If that's how that went down.
Yeah, but I'd like to see the
there's so much stuff going on in this case. I wouldn't doubt that they want a mistrial, just to shut everybody up about it.
I know the Gonsalves family made statements too, but did they get their information? See, the word is that there were these letters sent out. They were sent out to the broadcasting agencies and the Gonsalves and the other families, and the only person that spoke out about it was the Gonsalves family. So if these letters were put out there, where are they? I want to see one. I want to see somebody read from this letter. Until then, I don't believe it. That's
I
my.
find it all confusing. Look, there's no validity to it at all. I don't care what the G family says. They've lied to us numerous times.
Right.
And their description of that crime scene, and their description of evidence, and their description of people that they're close to the family, or even the survivors of the victims, they've made statements that are completely inaccurate about these people. So they've told us a lot of mistruths and misled us on a lot of things. I think Steve did that intentionally.
Right.
And now we're being told that they were notified of a plea deal, but that notification, I presume, from I'm not a lawyer, but I've had a lot of experience with the law. That they're being notified that there's an offer of a plea deal being made to Brian Koberger.
That's my opinion.
They're complaining that their complaint isn't that they weren't notified. Their complaint is that they didn't even know there was a discussion to offer a plea deal. I guarantee you that's what they're bitching about. They were notified Sunday. If that's what they're telling the public, they got a letter. Well, they're pissed off not because they were told Sunday, not 6 weeks ago when the argument started, or 2 days ago, or a week ago. That's what they're bitching about.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. And like I said, guys,
this late into the game, it'd be senseless to take a plea deal. Why would you want to put yourself in a state prison when you could sit in a county jail?
And why? Here's another thing. Why did if the state was going to offer a plea on this, why did they let the families go through all this bullshit all the way up to this point?
No,
that's
not
that's kind of shitty, Sarge. Think about that. They let these families go through all this bullshit back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for 2.5 fucking years, and all of a sudden now we're going to go ahead and offer a plea deal. That just doesn't seem. I don't know.
Well, Dago, it's much like with the house, where they claimed they were going to make a memorial out of it.
Yeah,
they were tearing it down so the community could heal, and the tagline right here on this leak is that to spare the family from the horror or whatever of a trial. It's the same bullshit that they've been spoon feeding us since day one.
I could see it. Like I said, though, we're in the 11th hour, and bam.
Right. And
it's just it's.
They've literally promised us. Right. Sorry, I didn't mean to go ahead if you want.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Have they not? And all the guilters remind us on the daily that there's this promise of this utopia of a mountain of evidence against him.
Right.
That they're going to release. I think, to be honest with you, is that they've dumped out everything that they have, and it's all bullshit. And so now it's the next move. It's like, what did the Democrats do when they knew they couldn't beat Trump? Pew-pewed him, right? And so there's no shame in the game. There's no bottom for these people. And
see, I felt like this might have been a bluff game too on the prosecution side. Let's throw this out to see if he grabs. And if he does, we're good. We ain't got to prove shit now. It's over. You know what I mean? That was another thought I had too.
Well, if it
Listen,
goes
I
to
think
trial,
it's part of the normal process. This is normal, what you're seeing.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
Yeah, that very well it could be.
And I think that they thought maybe he wouldn't bite. You know what I'm saying? And we don't know that he has yet. That's a sure thing. But I'm just saying, if they're throwing this out there.
They win either way, Dago.
Yes.
They win either way. Because if he doesn't agree, then they keep the death penalty on the table and say to the judge, look, he had his chance.
Yeah, and if he does, then it's over. That's it. Yeah. That's a win-win for the win-win for the state.
Issues, the fact of the matter, what was it? I forgot what I was going to say. Shut up, Kane. All right, never mind.
Sound like me now. It wasn't the prosecutor, it was the defense. No. Everybody keeps coming in here saying that the defense went to the state asking for this. That is not how that went down. That is not.
I remembered what I was going to say is that, oh shit, I forgot again. Barring some groundbreaking new evidence or information, I cannot see a single reason why the defense would go running to the prosecution begging for a deal at this point. If you were going to take a deal, you'd have taken a deal 2 years ago, in my opinion. I mean, why would you kowtow now? It seems ludicrous. It's a fantasy. It's got it.
The only way, like I said, I could see that happening, and I don't believe this, is if the defense went and tested that other DNA and something showed up that belonged to Brian, and she said, "Oh boy, you ain't got a shot in hell now, buddy." And I don't believe that.
There's got to be a reason that a public defender who's typically used to going along with the judge and the prosecution took such a mighty stand to proclaim her client's innocence. What prosecutor does that? They don't care.
Right.
They have 50,000 cases in any state. They're overwhelmed by their caseload. So what on earth would a possessor to more or less give up her position as a defense attorney in Watauga County to say this guy's innocent? I'm bucking the system, and then you have the anomaly of pain being brand new rookie on the biggest homicide case ever presented in Idaho. You have all these people retiring. Judge. Chief Fry retires, but he doesn't retire. Oh, if you didn't hear, by the way, Chief Fry is now the chief of police in another nearby city. He was given that job today. I'll tell you the city in just a second.
I want to ask Donnie a question. Prove they confirmed it is confirmed what? Donnie does dishes. Confirmed what? What has she said? That Brian Koberger's accepted a plea deal, or that Brian Koberger was offered a plea deal? I mean, come clear with what your statements are. Because it's my understanding that there's a plea deal being offered. And that's as far as I'll go, as far as what I can confirm. And I can't even confirm that. That's what all of these goofballs are saying online. Now the families are coming forward. And their statements are being put out there by the press. So are they stating that Brian Koberger accepted a plea deal? Is that what the family?
Surely that's got to be covered by the gag order. Can you just
a plea deal in place? Trial's over.
Yeah, that doesn't. The gag doesn't.
But not if it's offered.
Well, if he accepted it, that does end things like there. In my opinion, that wouldn't be under the gag. Then it's done. That's how I think that's how that would work. If they offered, he accepted, it's done. The trials, there is nothing. That's it. There's no gag. Then the case is over.
But would that not only the gag order would only end after it's signed and he's actually made a statement in front of a judge, right? It would not just because he agreed. It has to actually be agreed upon in the court and signed off on by the judge before the gag order ends.
She said last Tuesday that the families were notified that the defense came with the plea. No. First off, the defense wouldn't come with the plea offer. The prosecution would. Plea deal has been offered.
Violation of the gag order to go out in the public and say the defense is trying to cut a deal. I mean,
yeah, the defense can go forward. Yes.
You're wrong.
Yeah, no.
The defense cannot create a plea offer. You're wrong in that statement, Dago. They absolutely can.
They can, but it has to be offered by the state first, I thought.
No.
That's how I always understood that. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's okay.
Anybody that commits a crime, you could tell your lawyer, will they make a plea? And the lawyer will say, well, maybe they'll take burglary second, and a misdemeanor, and I'll ask them. And then your lawyer will go to the prosecution and offer what you're willing to plead guilty to.
I would think that even in cases that don't have a non-dissemination order, why would you ever negotiate with a prosecutor if they can just go to the media and say, oh, this guy was going to accept a plea? You know what I mean? That shit should not be released to the public ever, whether there's a non-dissemination order or not, because otherwise you would be a fool to ever negotiate with a prosecutor if they're allowed to just go out and release that information to the public.
That's a good point. It's a good point. I don't know. Like I said,
why the hearing this morning in Monroe County?
That's a good point. Why did they do that? That's right, Joanne. Thank you.
There was a scheduled hearing, just so you know. There's a reason that may have continued because it was a scheduled hearing.
Yeah, but if they got the
and the plea deal isn't final, and the plea deal isn't final.
That would be a good reason.
Hearing, and if there was nothing signed, there was nothing put together to make a solid deal, then they continue on as if nothing's going on.
Then yeah, that would make sense. Yes.
They've wanted to be right all along, and they'll go to any length at any cost to show that they're the correct ones. And when you look at it, I forgot what I was going to say again. We think about the initial impact that headline had. It's the most shocking one we've had to date. Everybody's stomach sank, and whether or not you peel it back 2 days down the road, it still made that initial impression as far as what Steve G is so strongly against, tainting the jury pool. And
mistrial.
Accomplished, but Jesse that's a great point. It absolutely should be if this is the way that they're operating. But then again, you have to remember, this is Idaho. nothing normal occurs there. This has been a head. What does Hitler say? I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this: the next few days are going to be quite interesting at the very least.
Yeah.
At the very least,
it should be very, very interesting.
The other side, too, though, Sarge, is that
what happened to Dago?
They go down. They go down.
They go down. They don't come up. He's like a weevil.
Jesse,
they wobble, but they don't fall down. He's on something. His battery probably died.
I've been wondering with the dollhouse if they were going to have weeble wobbles for the victims or what. How are they going to present that whole thing?
That dollhouse is just another fucking joke, by the way. I mean, you destroy the crime scene and then you build a little fake crime scene that you call a dollhouse. I mean, it's kind of like a metaphor for this case, how fucked up it is and what a clown show the whole thing is.
I also don't know how your lawyer would allow you. You could force your lawyer to do whatever you want. I did that. I was found innocent in a serious charge, and I refused to accept. They were going to dismiss the case. It wasn't I was found innocent. There was just no evidence to pursue, and I insisted they find me guilty. That's how I started. That was the day my recovery began from drugs all them years ago. But so, I don't. We'll see if the kid is just exhausted and he knows he's never going to get out of jail. That does surround you. I mean, you're locked in 24 hours a day. And even I forget lunches and recreation. You're locked in you're separated from humanity, and you're stuck in a cage, and that wears on you. And you get to the point where you're just going to, no matter what you say or do, they're not going to believe you. They're willing to lie. What do you do? And that's it. Sometimes, if even an innocent man will come to that understanding, what do you do? But I honestly would not. I would not recommend they don't take this to trial. I just wouldn't. I would say take it to trial and let the jury hear it.
I think, honestly, it goes back to my point I've been making all along, is that Brian Kohberger just doesn't stand a chance in an Idaho courtroom, one way or the other. They've proven that over and over. They're willing to go to any lengths to make him a man. When we all can see that there is absolutely no way he pulled up to that house, did this crime, and escaped. Listen, dude, have you ever been to a girl's house where you weren't confronted by somebody, like, you know what I mean? Like, even you go on a date, there's always a guy there. You know what I mean? That would who's this dude walking up there? So it makes me think that this crime was committed by, like the mayor said, someone they know, a crime of passion. You know what I'm saying? Does that ring a bell or anything? I don't know. I was in bed with a girl, and her ex-boyfriend came into the apartment, started hitting me while woke me up out of a sound fucking sleep. Get out of here.
Swear to God, bro, it was crazy.
No way.
I ended up flattening his ass. And then she was like, pulled me off him. You're hitting my boyfriend. I said, what boyfriend? You told me you didn't have a boyfriend. I said, let me go. And I pushed her away, and she punched me in the fucking eye like Mike Tyson.
Oh, that's lovely.
So I blasted her right in the fucking face and dropped her too.
Oops.
And then when the cops came, they were arresting me. And so I started calling her filthy names and being nasty. You hit like a fucking girl. It didn't hurt. I'll punch you in the face again, she said. And the cop said, what? I said, I told you she hit me first. Cop said, you hit him first? And she got real. He said, yeah, take the cuffs off him, put them on her. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's a good thing that they kind of changed the laws to more common sense stuff. I think a lot of times that you have these bipolar chicks or whatever that go off on people and have gotten away with
boyfriends.
What are you doing here? What are you?
Then you hook up with Sarge. I'm the innocent victim in all of this. Are you kidding me?
That is absolutely nuts.
Just recently, the quarterback for the BYU Cougars. You saw what happened there. Somebody come out with an accusation from 2 years prior, and they waited for him to be. He was a nobody at the time. Then he becomes a somebody, and all of a sudden, revisionist history. I'll take $2 million I'll shut up for $2 million. And it cost this guy he had to leave BYU because you're not allowed to have premarital sex, and he had to admit that there was consensual sex. So he got kicked. He didn't get kicked off the team. He got suspended, so he left the team. And I mean, this is happening left, right, and center. Shannon Sharp. I don't like Shannon Sharp, but do I believe that the OnlyFans model that he was with is telling the truth? Absolutely, I do not.
Look what they did to those guys in the frat or someone in the college. They're part of a football team or something.
Duke lacrosse. Duke lacrosse is the most famous.
Women can be, and men forget this because sometimes when women are attractive, you're not looking, your dick is thinking, right? But women,
you know what the biggest problem
is
legally there's no accountability. You can go. I mean, if I was a woman, Sarge, I could go and make an accusation against you, say filthy things, go on a YouTube channel live and say all these nasty things you did to me, demand money from you. And if it's proven that I'm lying, guess what happens to me? Zero, nothing.
Yeah. I went through divorce. My wife lied under oath.
Trevor Bauer. Are you guys familiar with the Trevor Bauer story?
No.
Well, Jesse, just to sidebar real quick. If you're hungry, snap into a sidebar. You make a good point, because I'm not going to point any fingers right now, but let's look at history. Who gets covered up for? Who's the most important things to universities? And people will say, oh, the frats. But it's athletes. Look at Aaron Hernandez, and you may or may not have heard about this, but when he went to the University of Florida, he got in a bar fight and almost took somebody's life, and he was up for attempted. However, the whole thing got to the leaders of the University of Florida, and it was completely squashed. You never hear about it. Now, fast forward to 2023, when Nick Reed was attacked by a group of vandal athletes in ski masks with carrying pipes, beaten within an inch of his life. And guess what? No report taken, no charges filed, no names released ever. And so when you add those kind of things up, it kind of makes you wonder, who are they going to cover up for? Ghostbusters?
Well, they covered up. Remember that guy, Jesse Smollett?
Smollett, yeah.
Yeah, he said the MAGA attacked him in Chicago while he was coming from up.
Right.
They didn't even steal a sandwich. That don't make no sense to me. I'm down for a good chicken sandwich. If I'm attacking it, I'm taking it. But anyway, yeah, that guy. How about the woman that said she was kidnapped? Blah, blah, blah. Women get away with a lot of shit, man. It's kind of crazy. But it's our fault as men, because we don't think they could be as scheming, as evil as they can be. And yeah, that's our error. It's even the way Bethany and Dylan were treated. That says an awful lot about how men perceive the capability of a woman to be evil and violent. And it's kind of weird. See,
Bethany and Dylan would have been treated a lot different if their names were Bob and Doug.
For sure. Yep.
For sure. They would have been.
They'd be under the jail. Those stories don't fly, Jesse. They don't even add up whatsoever. They don't add up so much that the police literally had to reinvent their story. Like, where did they come up with Clad in Black and Frozen Shock Face? And then you have all these people that are straight out of Central Casting, like Brett Norton and Dot, that are saying things like, oh, BK touched me or said something inappropriate. She never actually even went to school with him. And this is the kind of things that the press run with. A girl who never went to WSU claimed that Brian Koberger made her and the whole class feel uncomfortable in a sexual, condescending way. She never even met the guy. But the press,
I don't think any of that testimony of negative things people had to say about him after he was accused of a quadruple murder. It's all, of course, you accuse anybody of something like that, you could get a long list of people to say nasty things about them. So unless they were saying them before he was accused, to me, any negative comments are meaningless unless you're referring to incidents that happened prior to the accusation.
So someone is saying this. SG was on News Nation and said when Hitler signed the special investigation for a leak, the prosecution wanted to get rid of the case. And he also said he had a meeting on Friday with the pros. No plea.
I told you he was going to have some interesting things to say.
But, you know, again, we don't look at folks. There's chaos. And the chaos at the moment is we don't know the answer.
Can you get that News Nation, Kane? Can you dig that up and we can play it and watch it, that interview?
I'd rather not.
I haven't
Is
seen
that
it
asking
yet.
too much?
That would be a
I'd rather not. I got a job. I've got to travel quite a distance in the morning for a new job site.
Yeah, I'm gonna rage quit and step down. Thank you, Sarge. Appreciate it.
I
guess we're all rage quitting.
No, I just boot people when I'm done. I'm done. You should all know that shit by now. But this is the friendly channel of Your Ass Hurts News Network. One way or another, you're going to leave here with your ass hurting. Yeah, so folks, I say wait and see. Let's see where this goes or doesn't go, and we'll discuss whatever direction it takes. There's really no reason to debate whether he did or didn't take it, whether he did or didn't do it. Let's wait for the documentation from the court system, and at that point we'll know. If no documentation comes out on a plea deal, then we'll have quite the discussion about a shit show, you know? So that's where Dago stepped down. Good trouble. He's still where'd you go? There you are. Yeah, he stepped down. Ashley K will agree that if he signs these less obvious, then he's obviously, yeah, if he signs a plea deal, he's admitting to guilt, folks. The dude takes a plea deal, he's admitting to guilt. But I think there's key things he should be able to supply to prosecution to confirm that. Like, where's the knife you used? What did you do with the knife you used? I think that should be something that they should pursue as part of a plea deal. So, but they probably won't. If he accepted a plea deal, we'll know short order, and who knows what the fuck's going on. But like every day, it's chaos in chaos inside of chaos. I just spent an hour on Google, the court site, and can't verify the defense is engaged or agreed. I don't disagree with you there, Tanka. Walking, I don't know how to say your name. People got some strange fucking names. No more Bob or John or Joe or Dave or Mike. It's always these crazy names. Or Joanne's a decent name. No hearing for Wednesday either. Maybe that'll come up on the docket tomorrow, folks. And let's see what happens. So we'll let this develop. I'll stay silent. I'll wait for the facts to come forward, and then we'll discuss those facts once they come forward. Until then, like I say, every day, be good or be bad. If you're going to be bad, don't get caught. Have yourselves a good night. Take care.